Be'ezah Hashem, Parshas Matis Masei, Tovshin Pei Daled. Chovis Alvovin Shar B'tochen Perek Daled discusses that when a person goes to work, they shouldn't overdo it. They should only work the minimum, and the rest, if it's bashert for them, that they should have a harchova, they should have all their needs breit. It should be more than the regular. Then they're going to have it without working too hard for it. It's just going to happen on its own. The lashon from the Chovis Avos is that im yigzor lo haboire b'toisefes al zeh. If there's going to be a gzeirim and hashamayim, that the person should have addition to what they did, to the minimum. Tivoyeyu mibli torech v'yegia. It's going to come to him without working hard. It's just going to come. Kasha yiftach ala elikim bo, when a person trusts in the Rebbeinu Shalom, v'lo yarba lechazer ala sibos. Don't get involved. Don't get too busy looking for reasons how to get it. Emtsoim. It's just going to happen on its own. V'im lo yigzur lo, and if min hashamayim is not bashet for him to have more breit, he should have more than the minimum, then his status, whatever he's going to do, is not going to be able to help him with iota, nothing. He's not going to be able to change anything. This is really mamash the yisoidus of the tefillah from Rabbi Lapta. Now the Yortzeit Chafei Tammuz, Gamim is Amitz. Even if a person's going to try the hardest, if it's not bashet, they can't have it. And if it is bashet, even if they don't try, it's going to come to them. The minimum, that's what a person's supposed to do. Just ishtadlus to be able to have mamash the minimum, and then the rest is bashet for him to have breit, he'll have. Be'er Ma'im Chaim in Parshas B'Shalach gives a moshel. The same concept you could find when a person plants. If it's a tree or a zriya, they put in the seed, and then they're waiting and hoping that it should grow with a lot of peiros. It should grow well. Dr. Be'er Ma'im Chaim, once you did your job of planting, it's not going to make any difference if you stand there, if you sit there, if you look at it, you try to push. You can't budge it. You did what you did, then go on in life. You could daven, but it's not going to help you. Every person, every baradas understands that it's mamash loy ma'ila v'loy moirid. If you're sitting there and trying harder, working with the karka around the trees, it's a garnished. Zog the Be'er Ma'im Chaim, the same exact concept is once a person did their ishtadlus minimum, then trying again and pushing and shoving from all the sides is not going to be ma'ala moirid b'chlal. This concept is very important when a person is trying to find a solution for issues in life and overall. Forget about parnosa bedavka. They have tried. They're looking for a shidduch. They're looking for a job. They're looking for a school for one of the children. Whatever it is, they tried. They bemis tried. Right now, they can't come up with another idea. They feel maybe I should make another few phone calls, which people. Maybe I should ask one more person if they know about anything. And this is after they tried, and this is after they looked, and after they tried a lot. So Dr. Be'er Ma'im Chaim, you did the minimum, you did the basics. The basics. Once you did the basics, you could sit back. You should daven, but it's not important. B'chalal, to stand there, to sit there, and try to make it happen. This Yesod is, of course, the famous Yesod that results. Outcome is not something that's b'chlal b'yad ha'odom. A person cannot have any shlita, any control if outcome is going to happen. They could only do the chelik of the pa'ula. They could do a physical, specific ishtadlus, but if it brings the outcome, or what outcome, they have zero control over it. B'chlal not. Now, why do we have such a hard time with this concept? He's saying maybe because we can't define what's minimum. I wouldn't say so. Meaning, it is a challenge to define what's the minimum. It's a very big challenge. But the question is, why does a person usually have such a strong desire to continue on and do it? It's not like if they have a push. They want to. It's hard for them to give up. Their mind is obsessed with thinking maybe this, maybe that. A person should be able to use the Chavis of office just to sit around and be calm. Baruch Hashem, I did it. There's a shita that says that I did the minimum, let's call it that way. So I'm good. And we're talking about people that in different areas in Yiddishkeit, once they feel they do the minimum, even though Chazanish says you didn't do the minimum, they're fine. They say, okay, that shit's Chazanish. But I think there's a lot of poskim that say I did do the minimum. So he's saying maybe a person feels that they could have control over the outcome. And people, when you feel that you could make something happen, then there's a very strong desire deep in the nefesh of the person that they want to make it happen. Like, if I could do, why didn't I just do it? Let me just take care of it, and once and for all, get it off the table, get it off the ground, it's done. The more a person feels that they could make it happen, the more a person, Betor Odom, has a very strong desire to exercise that ability.
We spoke about that's part of chiyus of the person.
That's part of the chiyus of a person, that they want to feel that hargosha, that feeling of that I could produce. They call it, I think in Lashon Kodesh, they call it like a chedvat yitzira, creative, the joy of producing, the joy of feeling, using your talent in a way to see, wow, look what I draw this picture, I built this house of Lego. It creates a gewaldige joy. Why? Because the person feels that they're giving out their potential. Look, wow, you made this on your own? Yes, I made it myself. You see, by children, it's a mordige chiyus. We know that children is just a mirror to teach us what we're all about, and the adult girsa and the adult version. The emes hasiba why a person has such a strong desire is because people know, a person feels that they were created for more than just licking ice cream. So as long as they're just doing nothing, they can't feel themselves. They don't feel that they're utilizing their potential, so you don't feel the chiyas of Odom. That's why a person will constantly try to build, to move things, to go weiter, to be productive. They have to feel productive. But productive like an Odom, not like a Baal Chai. A person has a very, very stark need to be productive. You see that Batola, maybe the Yeshiyam, when people, they go crazy. Why? Because I'm bored. It's an interesting zach. I'm not making you work hard. You have all your needs. So why are you so depressed? Because I'm not a man. I'm not an Odom. I'm missing the gefeel, the positive feeling that I'm a person if I'm not productive. In different stages of life, ki yadua, it could become a challenge. Empty nest syndrome. People marry off their children young, and they're young and energetic, and you wake up in the morning. You should be so excited. You don't have to be busy dressing the child and sending him out, making the bus at 8 in the morning. But if a person doesn't have it, it's even harder, much harder. So here comes a person that, with all the tiredness of life, that means in a person, the stage of life, there's so much going on, and there's a lot of problems that need solutions in so many areas, and a person wants to be productive. So here a person is supposed to be mizaheh. It means identify that there's a koishi when you tell a guy you do ishtadlus, and the Rebbe Shem is really gonna do it on its own. It doesn't make anything happen. This a deep voice inside the nefesh of a person that says, "Can I please do it on my own?" No, I believe in the Rebbe Shalom. I just want to do it. You mind if I do it? There's a need. Even if you're going to chazah this yesod, you're going to say it over 150 times, that you just doing the Rebbe just going to make it happen. That need doesn't go away. And the reason is because it's deeper than just saying this sentence this way, the other way. So was will the Rebbeinu Shalom? The Rebbeinu doesn't want us to knock it, to shove it under the carpet, that need. Many times people they make that mistake, but you know what happens? It just comes out again. It's not something you could hide. It's a tzorech hanefesh that a person should feel productive. Wow, Baruch Hashem, tzorech, I did something. Norvos. The Rebbeinu wants us to change where we get that sipuk, and we should get involved, rather get used to generating that feeling, getting to that comfort level, that geschmack, from the right way. Again, the mahalach that I did something. Let's explain that. People, even if they didn't learn any Chovos Halevavos, they're not trying now to be very big oivdim. If they realize that they have to wait for results, let's say they're in the middle of a shidduch, they're waiting just for Dor Yeshorim, and then Dor Yeshorim says, well, it's going to take 10 days. Even if it just feels like 10 days, I'm not going to be able to give you an answer for Wednesday. And right now it's Thursday. So what do smart people try to do? Lav dafka with the most success. Get yourself busy. One of the mahalcha. Don't not sit and wait, because you're just going to be in tsar. Go do something. Try to distract yourself with productive, with other zachen. And so you'll be able to live throughout these few days that you're chashing to you're waiting for this result to come. When a person is oisik in ziriya bekarka, the pshat, that they just planted something, they just put in a seed, and now the Be'er Mayim Chaim says, you're not going to gain by sitting there, by trying to shovel the earth. You're not going to gain anything. It's just, when time comes, it's going to grow. With you being there, with you not being there. Just don't sit here. So what should I do? Get busy. Do something. Oh, so that's the first level. Let's keep the Aleph level. A person just gets distracted and tries to get sipur from something else, and then hopefully they're gonna see results from what they did a week or two later.
Sometimes you just to distract yourself.
It works. Playing games could be, he's not going to touch such a deep chedek or nefesh, he's going to remind himself, get distracted. Let's go back to the yesod that we're learning. A person is doing a shtadlis to solve an issue for parnosa, they're trying to invest, whatever they're trying to do. One of the tactics is a pashta eitz for a person to try to up their game. Chovos Halevavos. It means let's try to move a drop. Let's try to get busy with other zachen. You did your shtadlis. Don't sit back and say, okay, I did the minimum, now I'm not supposed to be doing more, so I'm just not gonna schmooze. Or even if they tell themselves, I'm gonna go learn, if they're just learning to kill time, it's not good enough in the nefesh, because then they're gonna come back and say, 1 second, check on the phone. If it's okay, what's the pshat? The pshat is because they're not fulfilling that tzorech nefesh of I'm busy creating, I'm busy producing. Oh, they're escaping from, but they're not escaping to. So what's happening is that there's a void in the nefesh. So imagine a person is trying to work on themselves not to hear the news. It's the day of election day, and it's at night or something, and they're supposed to find out who won. And now they're just sitting and doing anything. They're not doing anything. They're sitting back and they're saying, I'm not going to listen, I'm not going to listen, I'm not going to listen. Then they just, maybe I could hear from behind the door. If you're middle, you could have so many people, they're not in big madrege, but not a big madrege, but they're schlepping boxes 10 o'clock at night. They're now the main asking for Rebbe Shachassan. I don't know what, and then that age and then that culture. They're full with chiyas. They couldn't care less now who won the election. Why? Because he's a Baal Madrege? No, because he's productive. Because he's busy doing. Now, in the Stadlis, in Parnosa, maybe I should advertise. Maybe I should do it more this way. Maybe how am I going to get more guys to come by? Once a person did their shear, that means they have their hours of the day that they tried. They picked up a phone and then that's called a Kita Aleph level. Be productive. Not only be distracted. That's Kita Aleph is be distracted with other Sachen. Kita Beis is don't stop distracted like with games. Do something which is going to take out, which is going to develop, it's going to make you feel that you're doing something, that you're being productive. What's the best mahalach in that? The best mahalach is, and the Toilige mahalach, which works best, is when a person starts to train themselves. That when they do a mitzvah, if it's Gemilus Chesed, if it's Torah, someone going to discuss Tefillah. Right now, I was just moidig productive. I did something, and it moved something. And they should develop the feeling that when they are doing such mitzvahs, right now they're bringing shefa. It's happening right now. I did something. In order for a person to be able to slowly to feel that feeling, they have to train themselves that the emunah in what they did is so visible, it should be tangible. That means they feel that something happened, and they don't have the need to be able to do it physically. Mamash Hazoi. It's not who knows what behind Madrege, and we could take an example from a different world. If I want to bring boxes from this room to the other room, if I want to send it to a different apartment, I could do it on my own and schlep it and schwitz, and then I should see it that it's there. Some people even take a picture from the box by the door, so I know it's done. Or you could send someone to do it, and then especially if the person is a ishneamon, there's like, could I consider it done? The guy says, consider it done. So I don't need to see it. You don't have to be on the highest madrege to be able to slowly have that feeling. And mature people have people under them, which they take care of Zachen, and they don't need to check it, to feel it. They give it over, and then they feel, I could leave go, because it's done. In Avodas Hashem, it's super important to develop such a feeling that I just did something. I just produced. I'm excited and I'm happy. Let me try to do more. I want to do more today. Instead of when you did something, say, I don't feel that it happened, so let me check again. Let me try to push. It's a feeling that has to be developed for a person to be able to be'emes leave go. So once they did their shtadlis, they said, I be'emes did. I feel comfortable. I feel I have menuchas hanefesh because I did what I need to do. So now what should I do? I'm going to do something else productive. Again, Michayel el Choyel. Michayel el Choyel means I'm going to learn Torah and I'm going to believe b'emunah shleima. When I learn Torah, I'm making shefa should happen, and whatever has to happen to the world, to me, is happening right now. They're so excited. We did something today. I'm taking a chiyas that I was productive. Gemilus Chesed. One of the toyelison, one of the big the gains that a person has from being busy, being a noisin, you see other person help him. What's going to be with your own tzrochim? The Eibush is really going to give it to me. Is that you train yourself not to get busy trying to make the outcome of the previous pa'ula that you did, or the previous ishtadlis. Person has common tzachim that they need. Okay, they did something, but then they got busy. What do you get busy with? If you got busy helping others, that's fascinating, because it's developing with a person not to wait around, just to feel that feeling of being productive from Torah mitzvahs. Like Midas Chesed is a very good example, because it's an example which you don't have to be a very big Balmadrega, because be'emes you have the geschmack that I helped a different yid. I was able to give a chesed. I was able to make a different person smile. When a person learns Torah, and they need more emunah. You don't see something, you don't see the feedback. So a person could start with Midas Chesed, but they should in their mind connect it and say, listen, Baruch Hashem, I need a Yeshua. I was able to do a Midas Chesed today. No. I was wel bad geweten hoe het zo ook luisterde, maar hoe aan het gielen. By Tefillah, and the same thing is, I did a mitzvah for you, and they're just going to help me. And then when they get edgy, yeah, but what's going on? I'm waiting a month, half a year, 2 years, nothing's going on. You know, they do that. They say, okay, so let me be productive. Who could I help? They try in their mind to make that kesher. It's hard, but it's gesund. When you feel like, what else could I do? Instead of the what else could I do should be to help myself, to push something that I already tried. It's a feeling. Because when I learn Chavis Avavas, I know that I did. Elamai, but I have a tzorich to do something. People be'emes, they say, well, wait a minute, dafton. But say that. But don't sit by the tree that you just planted. You want to do. Or do something productive that's be'emes. A ma'aseh mitzvah. A Torah, a tefillah, and a zayvayit. And we mentioned that we're going to discuss how it works by tefillah. Tefillah is also, it's also extremely important for a person to develop this feeling. When you go daven, and you daven geschmack, which includes that a person wasn't stuck throughout the whole davening thinking about their problem. Old Yesod, very important Yesod. Just b'shas you davened, you left go, and you knew, I'm coming to the Rebbeinu Shalom, and I'm going to remind myself how big the Rebbeinu Shalom is, how to the mate of the Eibishter is. In short, one of the ways to explain one of the biggest Yesoidis of Tefillah that the Baal Shem Tov helped us understand was how to be, in Lashon Kodesh you would say, how to be meyashav the stira, how to resolve the contradiction of that the Eibishter is a kol yochel. The Eibishter could do anything possible, and we actually watch it. And the Eibishter Tov made him. The Eibishter loved the person. The Ben Yochid that was born after many years. The Eibishter wants the person's good. And with that sheni, the persons find themselves in a terrible, terrible mitzukah, that they have minimum needs that they need so badly, and they're just groping in the dark and they have no way to get it. And the Rebbeinu Shalom is my father, and he could in a second make it happen. So when a person doesn't learn the Sforim, so they come to daven, and they know that the davening from the Kol Yochel, but the feelings that bagleit them, that accompany them, b'shas, the davening is their mitzukah. And then they're taking this whole, so that's the feeling, and they're saying to you, Rebbeinu, I'm saying, it's bad, I promise you. But the Baal Shem Tov helped us understand that's not how you bring Shefa. That could be something that you were triggered before you went to daven. While you're davening, the avodah is to legamri leave go of that and help yourself. Therapy, how to leave go of that feeling, and you enter that world of shleimus, of toiv, until you feel it. Until you feel that it's a gewaldig. It's the best possible. It's a big avodah. But once you do that, then you're taking Ein Sof, that means the good of the Rebbeinu Shalom, which has no limits, and you're bringing it into yourself. You're making it be part of yourself. And then you pour Olam Haba into Olam Hazeh. Back to what we were discussing. By Tefillah as well, when a person is waiting for something to happen, a person could train themselves that they should feel, okay, let me go daven. And when they daven, they try to daven gesund. with the mahalach that a person is supposed to daven. That they say kapitel and tehillim that speak about Bochen Hafet Hashem, Hashem Lekay Gedal Tamoid, all the psukim of Lechuna Ranano, Shir Hashem Shechodesh, Mizmor Lasoida, but they tried and get there until it could ease their pain. And then they say, I'm a geholfen. Now, let me go do something. I did something now. When a person is davening, I'm going to call it childish. Agamas Chas Shalom is nothing. A lot of times we daven like that. But a person is davening just plain begging. I'm doing the pula of begging. V'zeo. Then they don't feel they did something. They feel, okay, now I daven. Okay, now let me go do something about it. So once again, you're stuck in your...
Let's check the results.
Yeah, let's check the results. Let's make the results happen. You weren't mamalik that the kud of the nefesh. But if a person davens on a richtige oifen, then what they do is, besides everything else, even psychologically, but they help themselves feel that soiva. I was very productive today. Maybe should tell us come on Yeshua.
Isn't the person supposed to daven kani b'Pesach?
So it is true, especially the Zohar HaKadosh says that there's tefillah l'moish, there's a bunch of tefillah, and then there's tefillah la'oni, which is best. And the lashon of the Zohar HaKadosh is even more powerful than you just mentioned. He comes with kindness. The Zohar HaKadosh. Tefillah la'oni is so tzibrochen, and he's so lost. Well, the simple answer to that question is, it's how you walk in and how you walk out. That means, the Gemara is by Kalba Savua. You walked in very, very hungry, and then you walked out in ganzen zat. When a person walks into tefillah, they're coming from Adam Hazeh. They met the evil of this world with full color. So they feel be'emes very, very tzibrochen. That's very good. I mean, when you're coming to Dhamma like that's fine. That's not a problem. The question is, what's the journey that's happening to you during that tefillah? We once mentioned the Malbim in Kapitel Chov Zayin in L'Dovad Hashem Oyer V'Yishi. The Malbim says, David HaMelech says, L'cho Omar Libi, Bakshu Fonoi, Esponecha Hashem Avakesh. So the Malbim, David HaMelech came to the Daven because of his own issues. Muching is that someone's running after me. But then, while he was developing that feeling of davening, the Rebbe Hashem could help me, slowly, throughout the journey of davening, my heart, my leiv is telling me, you know something? Esponecha Hashem Avakesh. But in the language that we're discussing in this shir is more that the pshat is this shiflos atzmoy and gadlus kodesh baruch hu. So when a person is going through a hard time, they feel the shiflos atzmoy. They feel the tefillon. I can't help myself. There's nothing in the world I can do, and it is what it is. Loniki yativ, it means he's all wrapped around in his issues. He's all messed up. But when it comes to davening, he chaps what he wants to do. What do I want to do now? I want to say Psukah de Zimra. I want to say Mizmor Lasoida. I want to say Hichvoid. I want to say Vayvorach Dov. I want to say the Shira. Wow, it's fascinating. That's what I'm doing. Well, often that I'm entering a world where once I feel it and I could say the words with kavona, I be'emes feel as gewaldig, slowly. Then a person could teach Manesser with Hasimcha. They get there all uplifted. So it started off tefillah only, but then now if we chap this yisoid, so again we mentioned that a person when they're waiting for results of a ishtadlas they should do, aleph they should get distracted, beis they should try to do an yonim of ruchnius with the mahalach hamachshava that I'm being productive now. Then we mentioned that you could do it with Ma'aseh Mitzvah Gemilas Chesed, which will be the easiest. And a person could be machanach like that. Sometimes you see a boy that's struggling, a teenager, that they don't feel productive and whatever. Gemilas Chesed is the first, because you could feel it, you could mamash. And then we said that every mitzvah and Torah works like that a person could feel and have their emunah, that I just did something. You don't have to see it, you have to develop that chagaton. And even by tefillah, that was the last part, that by tefillah, if you'll daven right, if you'll figure out that the real mahalach of tefillah is a person should change their clicker, they should change the mahalach hamachshava, then tefillah is also moed. You feel those gepoilt. I don't have to see it right now. I'm not waiting to watch it. It happened. Now, another nakuda. We know this big yesod that you can be dochikas hashor. If it's bashet for something to happen, there's a time when it has to happen, and before that time comes, you can make it happen. Or if a person does tshuva, or if a person davens with the richtige mahalach like we just mentioned, then they could make that zman come earlier. That's called achishena. Bita achishena. The explanation to that is built by understanding that when the Chazal say it's only going to happen the Geula or your personal Yeshua at a certain time, it's not a watch, it's not a clock that works with minutes. It works with tikkunim. It means if you passed these tests, then you got to that shore. So if you're trying to make it happen, sometimes you're even going backwards because you're going further away from the Rebbeinu Shalom, so you're not going to have to do it all over again. It's like someone that's trying to cut the line and the guard says, come here, go to the back of the line now. If you try to cut, then you're bringing yourself to the back of the line because you're bringing your nefesh to a further place. But once a person is willing to accept and they do tshuva and they try to do the heavy lifting of doing avodas Hashem and trying to fix Zachen, then they're making the show happen. Because that's how it works. So if a person chaps, when you daven for something, and now you're waiting for that Yeshua to come, the more you wait, in a certain sense, the waiting itself is pushing it off. Because after you davened, you were zachmet kadem for sure. If you davened the right way, you would overcome the worship. You came closer to that matziv. But once you went and you wanted to make it happen, then you went once again further from that matziv. So a person knows every time there's Torah, there's tefillah, there's a shtadlis, the right shtadlis, that's when they're actually producing. But the Rebbeinu Shalom makes it shouldn't be connected. There's a sefer Mari Yecheskel from the Deja Rebbe, the first Deja, he was a Talmud from the Mendele Rimenova. I think it's on Agodah Shel Pesach I once saw that he mentions there, why did the Rebbeinu Shalom make that the Yeshua doesn't come from the shtadlis that the person invested b'dafkanat? For us, why can it be also from this shtadlis? It was dafka sein. So he says, you could ask the question even a little bit weiter, like a certain tsar involved.
Put all that energy into this.
Even if you got a Yeshua, but he feels let it come from the shtadlis that I did. The person wants to feel like they have a particular shaykhis. Sagt the truth is because the person, the Eibishter wants a person to chab the emes. That is not connected to the person. So if it would have happened from his shtadlis, the person would be going backwards. They would do more. So it's a gewaldige toive from the Rebbeinu Shalom that it's not connected. So it could serve as the biggest reminder what actually makes the Yeshua happen on a zayvaita. So hayoytzelonu, if a person looks back, they could see something amazing. We mentioned it a few times. We'll say it again. There was a man that he said that he saw an amazing Yeshua at Midgalt Namordig Yeshua. That a person went to the Rimnitze and he was crying. He said the whole Tillim. He said, "I'm making a chasana. I need money." And in the Shmer and Ishveinig, a person tapped him on the shoulder. He said, "Why are you crying?" He said, "I'll tell you the honest truth. I'm making a chasana. I never pruta." He wrote a check on the spot and $50,000 and he gave it to him. Zog the Ingeman, this story happened. There was a drop diff in the Maisa. He came to cry that he needs to make the chasana. He doesn't have the money. 2 years later, he came back to the Rimritz to daven for his next child. Looking back, he saw that Be'etzem, he has no choivis. It means he had $50,000. So there wasn't actually a guy that tapped him on the shoulder and wrote out a check. It was more like if you look back 2 years, if you look 2 years later, he must have had $50,000. He's not stuck. It happened. The singing man was joking. He was saying it humorous that a very big yesod in Avodas Hashem. But it's a very important yesod that when a person does a pool of ishtalas / tefillah, and then they're hoping that a person's going to tap them on the shoulder and give him that check of $50,000, then they're not continuing on and steiging a life. V'reisa sachoira means that the Chasam Sofer says, look back and see how things worked out. You know what's going to help you, Linyonenu? To help you disconnect. It's very, very important, this Chasam Sofer. And this, if you look how many Sachen you davened for and you were geholfen, were you always geholfen? Drücke the Dibur of your tefillah? Was it like this crazy story that you went and you were farsim it all over the place? No. Most of the times, definitely not. That's why sometimes people get irritated when they see all these mices. That's why. Because why don't I have these mices? It happens once in a million, so why are you like being mechanech with these mices? What's the majority of Zachen? That people get geholfen, but not with those mices. Much more natural, the richtige way. What's the richtige way? That you look back and you see in the end things worked out. In the end it was gewaldig. A person I heard from someone, he was traveling once, and he was supposed to get to the airport to make his flight, and right before they got to the airport, they were supposed to get there an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes before the flight. There was an accident, and there was a standstill on the highway, and it was closed 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, a half an hour. And it was like, okay, if it didn't feel like half an hour, it felt more like 5 minutes less. But they felt it's over. Then, this guy tells me he went to the airport. He got there an hour before the flight exactly. They were waiting there by the counter. They gave him his boarding pass and he went. And the guy says, hey, you know something? Cool. Instead of having problems with Shmiras Einayim, I came to the airport the last second. There was nobody there. There was not one person on the line. It was empty, nothing going on. So Hashem prepared to me to spend the time in the car instead of spending the time in the airport. No nefesh chaya. So that you can only see afterwards. And millions of such stories. You have again and again and again and again all these stories. Yeah, but looking back, you do see how things were better this way. Just we don't do it. Yeah, you have to think. You can't be zachmis atzel. But you know what's going to help? Usually, people use this tactic or this größe Yesod und Chasam Sofer be'ike for emunah, for kabbalas yisur and ba'ahava. It can help you decide to disconnect. It can help you decide actively. Let me now make a phone call. And how did you say from Rav Ram Gunachowski about being Matzia Shidduch? He was in the hospital. Let's say the story.
When they told him that he had the machla, right? So the doctor explained what they're going to do. All these things. He said, no. The doctor thought he didn't understand. He said it again and again. He said, don't you understand what I told you? He said, I understand. I'll come to the treatment. And as he walked out of the room, the person was with him. He says, oh, you have a daughter? I just came around and did for you.
It's a moment to give you the story. And Rav Ram Gunachowski, they had just told him that Rachmon Litzlan, he has Yana Machla. He heard, and they thought that he didn't chap, so they re-asked him again. And as he's walking out of the room, one of the people they knew, he said, I just thought of an idea. You have a daughter, I have a shidduch for her. It's a moedige zach. Sometimes it looks very Yeluyishkeit in Rav Ram Gunachowski. But as a mahalach, as a decision, sometimes people get very lost. Even a much smaller nisyonis. Zachen that makes Hashem, But people get lost because they feel ma'ayin yavi ezri, and they feel like, okay, so now I'm back to square one. So now, do something productive. It's going to help. The matzav, it's going to bring you Yeshua, not boyfriend school, because the more a person is focused, the more a person is doing what they need to, the BM is helping. That's called doing something. It brings you into a positive mode. It brings you into, you're not in a symptom. You could feel it. You could mamish feel it. But it's not only the feeling. It's actually helping the abundance be able to come to the person. It's a very stark side, and it's a eitzit that every person could do. What do you like to do? No liboy chofetz. Sometimes a person likes to do certain types of gemilus chesed. The Rebbe must enjoy it. Get up and go do it. You know what's going to happen? In 2 years from now, most times much less, you're going to look back and you're going to see as it was already, you already had the Yeshua. Sometimes you have people, you meet a person after the second Basho, and the other side said no, when they thought that it's already a done deal. Sometimes they were rejected for the third time. They were the ones that were rejected for the third time. People could be tishos mamish, and I can understand them, because it's not only the technical zach that they are looking to get engaged. It's the feeling. It's back to zero. The feelings that's the pshat is okay. So nobody's going to want this now. So many times, a few weeks later, the person's engaged. Mamash. They thought it's over now, so there's nothing on now. We're starting from the beginning. Mamash, I get that river. Chick-chack. Mamash. They get a Yeshua. So again, many times it's geboit on the Kabbalah Yisroel Bahavar, they did B'Shas Ma'aseh, and also because they already went through, so they're closer, 100%. They're definitely closer. But a person should chap afterwards, when you thought that you have to go do something because now it's over, as pung verkehrt. That matzav was making it happen.
The person needs to go say Tilim is very present. Which kapitel to say? Kapitel that talk about Tilim Kiata or the Shira, or it depends on how you go into it, doesn't matter.
So the truth is that a person that goes to say Tilim because they're in a metzukah, so one of the halachim they could use is, sometimes if you say Allah Seder, it's going to happen anyways, if you say the whole Tilim. Because you're going to start with Kapitel Hey, Vov, it's a Kapitel of I'm begging, and many throughout, and then you finish off with Halal, and with Shir Malos, and the Psuka de Zimra. So of course it's not exact, because Kofites is Beker Bakosha, but the Mahalach Advorim is that a person starts off Tfilah Onidik, and then as they get into it, but it has to be minimum, I would say, 3/4 of an hour with tights. Then you have to get into it. You can't just instead of gain and get like, this is what I'm doing now. So it's not. I'm not like saying a few kapitals before I'm going to learn. No. Now we're saying Tillim. So it does something. It does something to the person. It's the best. It's more than that. A person goes, it happens in the middle. You can't. It's not what to stop. And many times, or actually most times, especially if a person has a tehillim with taich, then they could find all of a sudden a pasuk that resonates with them, and then you just say it over and over. And a person should. It says it in. I forgot. We once mentioned the sefer. A sefer. Oh, Reb Shimshon Pinkus has a sefer Sha'orim B'Tfilah. It's a very interesting, unique, different type of a sefer. He wrote it, not like all the most popular svarim is what they wrote from his drashas. This is what he wrote on his own. A few svarim that he wrote on his own. Shabbos Malkasa, the black ones. And Sha'orim B'Tfilah, then he has on Echad Miyodeya, I forgot the name of that interesting sefer. He goes through the 13. So on Sha'orim B'Tfilah is a sefer that he discusses. Chazal say, Esel Eshonis of Tfilah. It's the Medrash in Parshas Vayeschanan. Rashi brings Za'ako, Pilul, different, and he explains what's the difference between this way of davening and the other way of davening. It's all davening. It's Za'ako and Shava. Each one, that's Sha'orim B'Tfilah. It's 10 Sha'orim. Yeah. The truth is that the Be'er Mayim Chaim also has a big sefer exactly on this Mahalach. 10 Sha'orim. He says that he based it on that sefer. Yeah, but that sefer is a little bit more Kabbalic, so it's hard. Whereas Chanun is the highest, because it's Chanun. It's a way of davening. So in that sefer of Reb Shimshon Pinkus, maybe it's by Pilul, I don't recall exactly. Dr. Shimshon Pinkus, he brings him a core from a Friedig of the Musik, that sometimes if a person finds a pasuk, there's a concept of saying it over and over many, many times. And it shines, it brings a mamash Yeshua. The Yeshua comes from what the person feels comfort with this pasuk. This legabe linyonenu. Kaponim. It could be a very practical mahalach. This shir, for a person to push themselves to be productive, and with that they take away the nisoyan of trying to do the b'yishtadlis. And as we mentioned from the Moranayim, you run after the parnasa runs away from you. You run away, it runs after you. So this is going to make you run the right direction.